That basil you picked up at the supermarket last week? It was packaged to fail. Not because you don't know how to water a plant. Not because your flat doesn't get enough light. Because somewhere between the growing nursery and that little plastic sleeve on the shelf, someone made a decision that your basil would last just long enough for you to feel responsible when it didn't. And the worst part? It's been working perfectly. Here's the thing. I spent the better part of 2 years buying a new basil plant every 3 weeks, every single time. Put it on the windowsill, watered it carefully, tried partial shade, tried full sun, tried letting it dry out, tried keeping it moist. Nothing. The stems would go woody, the leaves would yellow, the whole thing would collapse inward like it was embarrassed to be there. And I genuinely believed that I just had bad luck with basil. That some people were basil people and I wasn't. I was not the problem, and neither are you. What I didn't know, what nobody tells you, certainly not the packaging, is that what you're buying when you buy a supermarket basil isn't a plant. It's somewhere between 8 and 15 individual plants all crammed into a pot the size of a coffee mug, growing so close together that their root systems are already strangled before the thing even hits the shelf. 10 individual plants. 10 separate root systems, all competing for the same half cup of soil and the same few milliliters of water, and every single one of them is trying to survive. Think about what that actually means at a root level. A basil plant, left alone to grow the way it wants to, will send roots outward and downward to colonize available soil, pulling up water and nutrients across a wide base. That's the whole design. It's efficient, it's elegant, and it requires space. Now, imagine 10 of those plants trying to do that exact thing inside a container that would barely fit a single healthy adult specimen. The roots hit each other almost immediately. They tangle. They compete. They block each other from the water and nutrition they need to support even basic leaf production. Forget the lush, aromatic growth that the packaging photo is showing you. That photo was taken at the nursery, before the overcrowding set in. Before the long journey in a transport crate, before the shelf time under fluorescent lights. By the time you're holding it, the damage is already underway, right? And here's where it gets worse. The grower knows this. The commercial herb industry knows this. Supermarket herbs are grown this way deliberately because dense planting looks abundant on the shelf. It looks like value. It looks like a full, healthy, thriving plant. And it is briefly for about 48 hours in ideal conditions after harvest. After that, you're watching slow-motion root strangulation happen in your kitchen window and blaming yourself for it. You've been blaming your windowsill for something that happened before you even got to the checkout. So, what do you do with this information? Because this is where it actually gets useful. Genuinely, immediately, this afternoon useful. You separate them. I know that sounds obvious once you know what you're working with, but most people have never thought of a supermarket herb pot as something you divide. It arrives as a single object. It's sold as a single object. The packaging says nothing about contains 12 plants, please separate immediately. So the idea of pulling apart something you just bought and repotting it into 3 or 4 different containers feels almost counterintuitive, like you're breaking something. You're not. You're doing the first act of genuine care that plant has ever received. Before you do anything else, turn the pot upside down and slide the whole root mass out. What you're going to see is either a solid cylinder of roots with almost no visible soil, which means the competition has been going on long enough that the roots have consumed the available growing medium and started binding against each other, or a looser clump where you can actually start to see individual stem bases and their attached root clusters. Either way, the principle is the same. Find the biggest, most vigorous stem with the heaviest root attachment and start your first separation there. Work gently. The roots will tear slightly no matter what you do, and that's fine. Basil is resilient, and a small amount of root damage during separation is infinitely better than leaving it in a system where every root is already losing a competition it can't win. If you're still here and you haven't already gone to find your basil, hit subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of thing we dig into every week. The gap between what commercial growing produces and what you can actually do with it at home is enormous, and most of it nobody tells you. Okay, so you've separated them. You've got 3, 4, maybe 5 individual plants with workable root systems. Now, and this matters more than most people realize, the soil you put them into is doing heavy lifting here. The mix that comes in the supermarket pot is usually a very fine, fast compacting growing medium designed for quick production, not long-term health. It holds moisture poorly once it starts to degrade, and it will compact around those already stressed roots and restrict airflow. When you repot, use a mix with some perlite or coarse grit in it, something that stays open and drains well. Basil wants moisture, but it does not want to sit in it. Fill your new pot to about 1 inch below the rim. Set your separated plant in at the same soil depth it was already growing at. You can see the old soil line on the stem, and press gently around the base. Then water it in slowly and thoroughly, not to flood it, but to collapse the air gaps around the new roots. That watering in step is the thing most people skip, and it matters, because an air gap against a root is a dead zone. The root can't absorb what it can't contact. And look, even at this point, with the separation done and the repotting done, most people stop. They put their now separate basil plants in better light, water them correctly, and wait. The survival rate goes up dramatically. Seriously, dramatically. You're probably going from a 2-week lifespan to an 8 or 10-week plant with no other intervention. But here's what I want you to know about, because this is where it gets almost absurdly good. Pinching, okay? The pinching cut. Here's what basil does when you don't touch it. It grows vertically, produces a central flower spike, puts all of its energy into that flower spike, seeds, and dies. That's the whole plan. That's what the plant is trying to do. The flowering isn't a reward. It's a signal that the plant has decided reproduction is more important than leaf production. And once it makes that decision, the leaves toughen, the flavor gets more bitter, and you've lost it. The commercial grower knows this. The packaging never mentions it. And you've probably watched it happen and thought the plant was just getting old. It's not getting old. It's going to seed because nobody told it not to. When you see the central stem reaching up and starting to elongate above the main leaf pairs, before any visible flower buds ideally, you cut it. Not all the way down. Find the node, which is the point on the stem where a pair of leaves emerges, and cut just above it, above the node. What happens next is the part that still makes me slightly delighted every time. The plant redirects all of that upward growth energy into 2 new branches, one from each side of that node. Where you had 1 stem, you now have 2. And I cannot stress this enough. Those 2 new stems will each produce their own nodes. And if you pinch above those nodes too, you get 4. Then 8. From a single separated supermarket plant with consistent pinching, you can have a genuinely bushy, productive basil plant running for months. You're probably already pulling your basil off the windowsill right now. That's correct. That's exactly what should be happening. What I want you to sit with, and this is the thing that reframed the whole thing for me, is that none of this is complicated. None of it requires special equipment or a greenhouse or expertise. The separation is 10 minutes and some extra pots. The pinching is a pair of scissors and 5 seconds every week or 2. The reason it feels like a revelation is not that the information is obscure. It's that it was never in your interest for the supermarket to tell you. A customer who knows how to keep basil alive indefinitely and multiply it from a single 3-pound pot is a customer who stops buying a new basil every 3 weeks. That's it. That's the whole thing. You now know something the packaging is specifically designed to keep you from knowing. Before we wrap this up, drop a comment and tell me, what's the fastest you've ever killed a supermarket herb? Because I have a rosemary story that I think is going to make you feel significantly better about yourself.